Alright, so as many of you guys already know, Yvonne and Lily recently came out with statements, particularly in regards to Fed. Also, Fed has been removed from OfflineTV and from the OfflineTV house. I wanted to sit here and talk with you guys a bit, share my experience, and share what I believe to be some much needed context around Lily and Yvonne's incidents and situations and statements. I won't lie, it's been a bit frustrating seeing people be so negative and rude towards them. And so I would really like to help paint a bigger picture or a better picture and to help you guys understand. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't want to do this. I am like cringing so far deep inside of my body, like to be discussing personal matters publicly, but that doesn't mean this isn't the right thing to do in this specific circumstance. All right, I wrote down everything. Oh wait, I also wanted to preface and say my time of the month hit me real hard today, and so I'm not feeling the best. So if I seem like woozy or lightheaded, it's because of that. So yeah, sorry if my tone or expression isn't the best. I am not feeling the best, but I really, really desperately want to get this out there and move past it all. Is there anything else I want to say? Oh, yes. I got a Google Doc. I wrote down everything that I want to go over, so I'll be referencing this a lot. I have no idea how I could possibly do this otherwise. I'm out here shaking. All right, let's begin. So elaborating on the OTV/Fed situation. I'd like to clarify certain things and help paint a better picture of what was going on between Fed and others, especially because I think it gives a lot of context to the severity of his incidents with Yvonne and Lily. I truly hope my perspective helps. I'm going to say this at the beginning and at the end. Please just don't attack anyone. It doesn't matter who you think was right, who you think should have done this, who you think should have done that, who you think was wrong. Just don't attack people, because at the end of the day, it is not helpful. We are real human beings. These are our real lives. We are in very weird situations where we kind of have to share these things publicly. So please, don't be an ass. Yeah. Especially to Yvonne and Lily. All right. So I'm going to start with sort of my experience, and it'll kind of just snowball into everything that I would like to share. I'm not going to be sharing everything. I am specifically trying to share things with the intention of helping you guys understand, especially understand Lily and Yvonne's incidents. So let's rewind a year or two ago. I felt a growing distance between me and the people within OfflineTV, and also the people within our greater friend circle. This was coincidental with the time that everybody was also becoming a lot closer to Fed. And Fed was by far the closest friend I had, like within OTV, and just a very, very close friend to me in general. Albeit having a very, very complicated dynamic, we were super close, and so I would share with him how isolated and ostracized I felt within our community of friends and within the house, and how I really wanted to be closer friends with everyone. And also, how sad it made me that he never invited me to tag along to things. He would often go and visit our other friends or make plans. And I just thought it was really weird that if we are so close, why do you never bring me along to hang out with anyone else? Even though, and also because everybody else, like I already knew them for many, many years. So even though I would bring this up to him, he still continued to act this way and exclude me. It hurt my feelings a lot, and I thought perhaps people just didn't want me around, so I didn't want to impose. And anytime he or anyone else did try to include me, the way people treated me just felt kind of off, but ultimately I just put it on myself, or maybe me sucking and people not liking me, I don't know. Anyways, during this time where I felt distanced from everyone else, me and Fed would have many issues. One of the more prominent ones revolved around an incident where we threw a house party. Some of you guys know, we just throw house parties sometimes. And he knew that there was someone coming to the house party that I was really looking forward to seeing and getting to know. And when that guy came to the house party, or arrived at the party, Fed kind of stuck to him like glue all night. But from my perspective, I was like, oh, like, that's nice, you know, my close friend and this guy that I want to get to know, like, they're getting along so well. That's really nice to see. Even though I was a bit sad that I couldn't actually talk to the guy, but whatever. Later that night, after the party ended, I texted this guy. And I was like, oh, kind of sucks, like, we didn't get to hang out. And he was like, yeah, you seemed really busy. And I was like, me busy? Like, you and Fed were, you know, 2 peas in a pod all night. And he goes, oh, yeah, like, what's going on with you guys? And I was like, what do you mean, what's going on? And the guy informed me that Fed told him that we were together when we weren't, and that he told the guy not to tell anyone, not to talk to anyone about it, not to talk to me about it. And that was the first time that Fed just like massively broke my trust, and I could never trust him or look at him the same way. And I'm very grateful that the guy in question told me this, even though Fed told him not to. And then I retroactively asked someone else from kind of the past whether Fed had said something similar to him, and they did. And I very recently, just today, found out that he said the same thing to another guy. And the guy I found out about today was someone else that like I was seeing or wanting to get to know. I'm a very, to a fault, I'm a very confrontational person, so I confronted Fed about this, and he admitted he did it, he admitted it was wrong, and that he fucked up. And I said, okay, you know, and we tried to move on. However, this was not the first or last time that Fed would lie to me. So I had a lot of trust issues with him, not to say that I'm a perfect person by any means, but there would be many instances where we would fight, and if he was in the wrong or if he ended up unhappy, he would just ignore my existence or my presence in the house. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like literally refuse to acknowledge that I exist, or he'd avoid me, or he would go to the Just Friends house, so our friend's house. If you guys don't know JF, they are a group of our friends who used to live together. So he would go there or pretend I don't exist, which I don't know how to explain, but that is a really weird thing to live and work with, someone that is like trying to ignore you as a person, as well as other things. So yeah, I'm quite the confrontational person, and I would often confront him about things I felt he did wrong, but he would only sometimes acknowledge his mistakes. But more often than not, he would ignore me, and now I find out oftentimes ran around to others, making me sound crazy. I never wanted to make Fed look bad to other people. I know we're all friends, and so I would usually, if I ever vented about Fed situations, I would try to keep it to people outside of our circle. And because I rarely spoke to people within the circle about it, it kind of led to me further being distanced from everyone else. Also because he almost felt like the connection to everyone else. So yeah, it led to me being distanced from everyone else, feeling pretty shitty, as well as wanting to move out. And this was in the last house that I felt this way. So yeah, I just felt alone and unhappy because the person I was closest to at the time would flip-flop so often. We'd be good friends or we'd hate each other, and back and forth. And I do want to acknowledge that that must have been a very difficult situation for him as well. Like, I'm sure it didn't feel well for him either. I want to share an excerpt, something that the Just Friends girls wanted me to share on their behalf. So this is from them. They said that at the Just Friends house, he would come over anytime things were off or tense at the OfflineTV house and just like be in their rooms, never knocking, just there, which they came to accept as just Fed things. While he was there, he would always imply things were bad between me and him, and lie or push false narratives that make him look good and make me look really bad. Or when he was over, he would be in one of their beds almost all the time. Later, when the Yvonne incident happened, and when they did not know that this happened, he would come over to their house and tell them things like, Yvonne is taking up a content creator spot in our house. She does literally nothing but play League, and talk about how much he wanted her out of the house. He would constantly talk shit about girls he would show fleeting interest in and then tarnish their reputation. They could tell girls felt scared of being on bad terms with him and OfflineTV, and the girls felt like that was a bit of an abuse of power. He essentially knew that he was protected by the OfflineTV and friends blanket. Okay, back to my perspective. That was their part. Between me and Fed, all the back and forth eventually settled down after many months into what I would call a kind of stale and sort of disingenuous friendship out of both of us not wanting drama or issues, so we just coexisted. So prior to the intervention we had with Fed, pretty recently, the girls in our friend circle all got together just to chat. I brought up the fact that although I haven't had any major conflict with Fed since moving into the new house. Oh, could you guys give me a sec? Oh, okay, I'm good, sorry. So yes, all us girls got together just to chat, and I said that although I haven't had any major issues with Fed since moving into the new house, I was still not entirely happy, and I felt a lot of pent-up resentment against him, and I also felt a lot of guilt for that pent-up resentment. Basically, I was living with someone, and every time I would see them or hear them, like, I would feel bad because I would think back to all the negative things that happened. And I'm sure Yvonne and Lily had their respective resentment for whatever happened with them as well. But I would feel that a lot, and then I would feel really guilty for feeling bad about someone that I live with, that I work with, and that is friends with all of my friends. Yeah, so I also explained to the girls that I felt the only proper and unproblematic way for me to deal with my emotions was to move out of the house myself. And I also want to quickly elaborate, there were a lot of reasons why I wanted to move out. Yes, Fed was a big pushing force. I do still mean all the other things about moving out, work-life balance, being excited to live with girls, all of that. Was he a part of that though? Yes. Mind you, this was very recent, and this was the first time I opened up about my past experiences with Fed to all the girls in our friend circle, and this led to everyone slowly opening up about their negative experiences with Fed. Mind you, I felt like it was a good enough time to talk about my resentment because it was way past everything had happened. It was crazy to see that just about every girl had a Fed story. We all realized we brushed off our negative experiences in order to not disturb the social circle, to avoid issues, and because we figured they were just slip-ups. This was the moment we truly realized how big of a problem his behavior was and that ultimately we needed to plan an intervention of sorts. I need water, I'm sorry. Also, it's dumb that this many people are watching, okay? But anyways. Yeah, so this talk with all the girls, along with everything that was shared during the intervention, helped us piece together and realize that he would lie about me a lot, create narratives in his favor, and insinuate a lot of negative things which drove everyone around me away from me. And it's just baffling that I find this out just now, basically. Even Scar admitted he thought I was crazy. Sorry, me. I don't know why it sounds like I'm quoting. Even Scar told me that he thought I was crazy, either because of the issues that I said I had with Fed back in the day, or via the things Fed would say about me. And that same sentiment has been echoed by a lot of my other friends after the recent intervention and the recent talks. And I just want to take a moment to talk about my feelings, and then I will continue to recount events. I just want to say that it's really hard for me to explain how bad it feels to find out that the person that I was closest to and the person that I would share how badly I wanted these friendships with was the same person that was actually isolating me and sabotaging these friendships for me. I don't even really know if that was his intention or not. I'd like to think it was more of an inconsiderate or careless thing, but ultimately, he drove everyone around me away from me. And I started freaking crying at the intervention and after, just out of like mourning the years of friendship that I lost with these people because of him. Yeah. Like the very person that I told how badly I wanted this to. Also the last person I would have expected to do that. I hope I'm making sense, and I'm really sorry if I'm not. If there's anything that is confusing, I'll try to elaborate after. There's been multiple instances of Fed pursuing a girl in the scene, suddenly losing interest, and then bad-mouthing that girl to us, giving us a negative impression of that girl. We would later find out from these girls that he made unwanted advances on them. While there's nothing wrong with shooting your shot with a girl, the way he does it is, the way he does it and the way he acts after he gets rejected is really problematic because it damages the girl's reputation and hurts their character. And as people within OfflineTV, if we all think badly of someone and our friends also think badly of someone, that can be really impactful on someone's career in esports or on Twitch. We had multiple girls tell us how they were afraid that OfflineTV hated them. At one point, I had to have a very serious talk with Yvonne about a potential new hire for OfflineTV because we were worried how Fed would act with a girl working under him. And I just don't think that it is normal for a company to have to worry about a female hire being taken advantage of. And that power dynamic that would have happened if we hired a girl genuinely concerned me. And this was prior to me knowing a lot of the stuff that I know now. Toast also sat down with Fed a year ago. At this point, Toast was the only one from OTV who was aware of the incident with Yvonne and Fed. And he warned Fed about the growing concern within our friend group in regards to his behavior around girls. And this was before we all shared our stories. In regards to his behavior around girls, especially when drinking, and this was before all the recent stuff. It was just like a concern that was starting to build at the time. Fed responded by getting angry at Toast and claimed to not have remembered the incident with Yvonne, and he seemed more concerned with who else knew about the incident and about anything else, and who had said what about him. I am sharing this on behalf of Toast and with his permission. I want to put a huge emphasis on this. The way he shit-talked Yvonne and Lily to me and others, particularly, I will just recount my experience, is so frustrating knowing what happened between them. The Yvonne incident happened, and Fed would start talking to me. I'm so sorry for being emotional. He would talk to me about how Yvonne was lazy and not working enough and playing League all the time. And I was concerned. And he would say, oh, she won't work on OTV stuff with me or brainstorm and blah, blah, blah. And this discussion got to the point of us almost letting Yvonne go from the company because we thought she just wasn't interested enough in working with us. When in reality, her behavior was entirely because of the incident that happened between them two. And so it just blows my mind that he would try to manipulate the narrative in that way. And kind of aggressively, if that makes sense. He was really not wanting her there anymore. And, mind you, I did not know about the Yvonne incident at this time. So the reason I'm so emotional and angry about this is because I think back to how I acted then, and I feel so bad. I feel so fucking bad that, I would talk to Yvonne, sternly about, we need to work, we need to do this, we need to do that. And I had no idea the reason she was behaving the way that she did was because she was so incredibly uncomfortable around him. So, yeah, I just feel really bad, and I'm so sorry to Yvonne and Lily, and I really wish I knew back then. As for Lily, after the incident with her and him, and after he tried to get with her basically, when she was really vulnerable and heartbroken and in probably the worst mental state I've ever seen her after her breakup with Albert, after he tried to get with her in that state, he started complaining to me about how Lily and Michael were hanging out a lot and excluding him, and how he felt lonely, and how he felt like Lily ditched him as a friend. And I genuinely felt so bad for Fed. Again, mind you, he's been the closest person to me in the house for a long time. And even after our friendship became kind of stale, I just wasn't that much closer with anyone else. So he would tell me all this stuff, and I felt so bad for him. I was like, oh, they must not realize that they're excluding him and he feels bad. And yeah, and I talked to Lily and I was like, hey, maybe spend a bit of time with Fed, he's lonely and stuff. And I was trying to help everyone. And I didn't know at the time, probably the reason Lily wasn't spending much time with him is because he tried to come on to her when she was sad as shit, which entirely makes sense. And again, sorry, oh my God, I feel really bad for yelling. The reason I'm so emotional is because I just feel so bad that I did that, and I had no idea. I genuinely had no idea, and he warped my perception to be against these people. And so I know exactly how all of my friends were against me. I can't even imagine the way he warped their perception against me. Let's finish out strong. Yeah. Anyways, to finish this all out, I see a lot of people excusing Fed's behavior by blaming alcohol or blaming Yvonne and Lily for freezing up and not saying no. It makes me really worried that with people minimizing his behavior, plus diehard fans that are seemingly ready to support him at any moment, I can just imagine him coming back within 2 months, saying that he's been sober for a few weeks, and thinking he's like a different or changed person. We want to be there for him on his road to recovery, and we really support him seeking professional help, and I'm really glad that he is. But we also just need him to understand that he really does have some deep-rooted issues that aren't just solved by not drinking. And I just want to say, like, obviously there's still a part within me that cares about Fed, and I feel really bad thinking of him seeing me talk like this, or thinking of people shit-talking him because of what I feel forced to share today. I want to apologize to him for that. I want him to be okay. We all want him to be okay. If we didn't, we wouldn't have had an intervention. We wouldn't be doing all of these things. We wouldn't have spoken to him so many times. And please don't harass him. Don't harass anyone. It just doesn't help the situation. We're trying to help you guys be educated and understanding as viewers how to handle the situation, and at the very least, not attack Yvonne and Lily. I want to reiterate that under normal circumstances, I would never share these sorts of experiences. A lot of them happened a long time ago. But I feel it's really important right now to do this because I still see people excusing his behavior, acting like they know him, and trying to minimize what happened to Yvonne and Lily without seeing the bigger picture. If you're upset about us sharing these things publicly, understand that we just felt like we couldn't enable his behavior anymore, that we tried to address it and we saw no change. This was an incredibly difficult decision to come to, probably the most difficult decision we've ever made. It was not our first resort by any means, and initially, Yvonne wasn't even going to come out with a statement at all. During the intervention, he was surprisingly apologetic. Like, we were borderline impressed at how apologetic he seemed. His words were the things that we wanted to hear. However, after the intervention, via his actions and his words to other people, it was made very clear to us that his priorities did not lie with his victims, but with his public image. His priority was not to make things better or to be a better person, but instead it felt like it was to salvage his career and figure out his next move. Within a day or two after the intervention, he was already running to our mutual friends and trying to seem like the victim in this situation for being let go from OTV. Among other things, I just wanted to give an example of the indicators that made us feel like he's not actually trying to be a better person. I hope that he is now, whether it's after this talk that I'm doing, whether it's before. We just want him to be in that right mind space or mindset. And again, we discussed this for days. Many phone calls were made, many talks were had, not much sleep was gotten. We tried many compromises, and it is so unfortunate that we felt it had to come to this. Thank you for hearing me out. I don't plan on further talking about this. If you have a negative opinion in regards to what we've said or done, then that is all right. Please don't ask me questions about this in future streams. I would really like to just live life and start a new, hopeful, happy chapter. I just moved. Please just send Yvonne and Lily some love. Don't harass anyone. Don't be an ass. Please just be understanding of everyone. That is all. Now what? I'm just kidding. That's fucking, yeah, it's just not easy to do. I feel so weird and uncomfortable. I don't like talking about personal things. I just don't. I want to reiterate that after I end my stream today, I fully expect never to talk about this ever again. I just don't want to. I wish Fed the best. I wish everyone the best. I just don't want to talk about it. Can we unsub mode? And I just quickly want to see if there are any glaring, obvious questions. I really hope that my statement doesn't make things, I mean, it probably will make things a bit more complicated, but I want, yeah, I just don't want any huge misconceptions to be out there. Toast and Scar are okay. If they decide to speak up, then that's up to them. Sorry, I'm trying to see if there are any questions that people seem to have. Also, Miss Gift, get better content. Will you stream normally from now on? I don't know when my next stream will be, partially because I'm emotionally exhausted, partially because I'm at a new place. But whenever I do start streaming, yeah, it'll be normal streams. I think someone... Hold on. Yeah, I did move. I'm not out of OTV, I'm just out of the OTV house. As for how Michael feels about this, I will not be speaking on his behalf. If he wants to say something, he will. If he doesn't, just know that he supports people in the group. I do want to make it like, I don't know, people asking, are you guys on good terms? Are you friends? Are you this? Are you that? There isn't like any big, massive tension. We don't hate him. I don't think he hates us. I did briefly speak to him prior to talking about this publicly, sort of as a heads up, because it's hard to fully not care about someone that you've lived with for so long, regardless of how shitty the situation is. And he was very much in support of anything that helps Yvonne and Lily, so be nice. Please don't say we hate him. Just don't be an ass, even to him. Because I want to remind you guys, whether you're a streamer, whether you're a viewer, human beings generally don't become better people because of like just like incessant online hate or like attacks or whatever. And I also want to say like I think people were saying like that the statements were kind of like airing dirty laundry out or just like awkward flirting or whatever. For starters, flirting does not involve putting your hand in your friend's shirt that has a boyfriend that you live with, that you work with. That's not flirting, like just please don't. Secondly, a big reason why we felt the need to talk about this, as we said, feeling like he wasn't going to get better, but mainly as a warning. We're not necessarily trying to shame Fed into being a better person. We were just worried that something like this would happen again and again and again, even if it wasn't in our circle. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of afraid of like saying the wrong thing or whatever, even though this is like my experience and my, like, I mean, it's true. But any glaring misconceptions or questions? Is OTV content prior to the statements going to be published? I don't know. I have no idea. We haven't discussed that. Why didn't you speak on it sooner? My dude, it happened yesterday. Also, I'm moving. Oh, and no, I don't think you mean any sooner than I could have after their statements. Because again, it's their statements. As for the future of OTV, we are all homies. I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah. Fed did not attack me. Please, like, don't try to put words in my mouth or experiences in my life. Like, I shared with you guys the ways in which Fed, I felt, was either lying or manipulative. I'm like, don't try to make him out to be a predator on my behalf. You know what I mean? Like, just please don't. Where's Fed now? He is taken care of. Don't worry. I think he is staying with family. So he's okay. Everyone's okay. I feel like there's no like really good questions. So maybe I will dip. Kind of feel bad. A lot of these questions seem like they're coming from like really young people, and yeah, it feels weird to be discussing this. I don't know, my head hurts. All right. We're good? Sorry, I don't see any like big glaring questions. Just small pokey questions. Not like pokey, just like poking. Alright guys, so are we set to not talk about this anymore? Because I'd really like to be. Because Valorant just came out, and Valorant Rank just came out, and I would really like to get back to playing a lot of video games, and I think everyone else just wants to be happy and nice and all good, and yeah. I see some yeses, I see some no's. I just want you to know, if you come in here and harass me about the situation or keep asking questions that I don't want to get, I will ban you. Or maybe I'll time you out, because maybe you'll get better. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I truly do appreciate it. Please don't... I feel naive asking, but yeah, please don't harass people. Please be as nice as you can. Please don't try to make anyone's lives worse, whether it's Yvonne, whether it's Lily, whether it's anyone in our friend group, whether it's Fed. Don't try to make people's lives harder. This is enough, you know. Thank you guys, and oh yeah, the only time that I will ever talk about this again is if I really feel like there's a huge misconception that I need to clarify on. Aside from that, what needed to be said has been said, and yeah. Alright guys, bye. Have a good day. I will see you when I see you. I am not done moving, and I'm not done emotionally processing everything, so bye. How do I end a stream on the Twitch app? Okay, bye.